Welcome to another special edition of Paraprobe. And for once, we don't have Jesse here because I know how much he hates it when I say edition.
Yeah,
So we got Jay in studio. It's going to be just me and the Jayster here.
that's right, baby. Welcome back, my Paraprobers.
Yeah, we got our boy Jesse. He's out today. Apparently, he had another flare up. So it happens,
You gotta check those things out, man. You gotta get checked out because
Bro.
it's not good, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, sooner or later, your wife's gonna find out, dude. I mean, seriously. It's only so many times you can say, "Not tonight, I got a headache."
Yeah,
And you're rubbing
right.
cream. I mean, cream doesn't have anything to do with a headache, but whatever.
Yeah, that's not good, buddy.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
So check out our nifty little sign back here. We got our Paraprobe Radio live Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Tampa Bay's 1490 AM WWPR.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're online at 1490WWPR.com. But as you guys know, we are now pretty much a television show. You're going to be able to see us, here on your screens. We're going to be on YouTube, Amazon Prime, everything else. You'll be able to find our show. And we're going to be doing it live every week. I don't want to say live because it actually is a recorded show.
Right.
But they'll be getting released every single week.
Right.
Yeah, so what do you think, man? You happy about this?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited, man. It's looking good, for the new future. So I think it's gonna be good. I think it's good. It's exciting. I do, however, I want to thank some of my followers. I've gotten a lot of great responses from them regarding the show, and we appreciate it. So thank you very much. Hopefully we can keep on putting stuff out there for you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, for me, I hate all of you, so it really doesn't matter about my followers. No, I'm kidding. I do have a lot of followers I like to thank too. I mean, there are quite a few out there, so I'm not concerned to list all of you guys off. But it's been very nice since like going from DeadX Radio, the uncensored podcast show that I used to be on, with like Jeff, John, and Pat. And now it's me, you, and Jesse doing Paraprobe Radio, being back on radio instead of just podcast.
Right.
It's been a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. We've really been building the show in the last couple of years. We've been nominated for Creative Loafing's Best of the Bay competition 2 years in a row, here in Clearwater, Florida. We've, have been listed as number 6 of the top 15 paranormal talk shows on the web.
Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I made number 6, man. It's been crazy. I mean, now granted, we're like I want to say it's like 2.68 million on OnlyFans top ones. Yeah, we're like way down at the bottom of the list on OnlyFans, but
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't win them all.
Yeah, it'll get better. Especially if I start using more oil. But anyways,
Yeah, rub that chest, baby.
yeah, that's right. You know how it goes, man. You got to get the oil, you got to get that perfect sheen.
Yeah.
You got to get that sheen going.
And
You know what I'm
girls
saying?
like that, man. They
Yes,
like
they
that
do.
little sheen look.
That's right. So today on Paraprobe, we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories, and there's obviously a lot out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, multiple times. I mean, there's conspiracies out there that everybody's like, "Oh, you got that on QAnon," or "You're just some conspiracy nut," or "You're this crazy left winger," or "this crazy right winger," yada yada yada.
Blah, blah, blah.
But let's think about, I mean, realistically, how many of these have actually become true?
Yeah.
A lot of them have become true throughout history.
Yeah. I mean, it's conspiracy until it's not a conspiracy. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
like you said, a lot of them have turned out to be true. So that's, what do you say to the naysayers about that?
Yeah. Like one of the conspiracies, like, I mean, God, this is going back to like the, 60s and stuff, man, when they used to drop LSD on people, and it's so funny because for the longest time, everybody was like, oh, that's a big myth. That's made up. That kind of crap doesn't happen,
Right,
whatever.
right.
And then, of course, later down the line, after Freedom of Information Act came out, that they were like, yeah, we've actually put LSD in people's water and all kinds
that's
of stuff,
insane.
man. It really makes you wonder, like, more recent times for us, dealing with the pandemic,
Right.
there's a lot of conspiracies, flying around that. I mean, like, what have you heard? I mean, just off the internet, whatever. What have you heard?
I've heard that they put some kind of 5G chip inside the vaccination. So
Really?
I'm assuming to track us or whatever happened. I mean, I didn't take the shots, but I mean, that's what I heard. So
Yeah. My favorite one was that it's, It's for population control. They knew it would kill off all these people and everything else.
Wow, that's dark.
That's dark, but so untrue. So untrue, man. I mean, and we're not going to get too much into talking about, the whole vaccine thing, because it's a headache to deal with for people who believe or don't believe, whatever.
Right,
I don't care about your opinion on that. So just letting you know.
Right.
But the big thing is like throughout history, we've had such like crazy like conspiracies that come to find out were true later on in life. One of them I actually talked about on a prior show, this before you came on with us, that it was the CIA created a heart attack gun.
A heart attack gun.
Have you ever heard about that?
I actually have not. So I mean, what's going on with that?
All right. So the heart attack gun is a gun that would fire this projectile that would break the skin, right?
Okay.
And for all intents and purposes, it would basically poison the person, and for appearance's sake, make it look like they had a heart attack.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
And it's true. That was a real thing.
Let me ask you a question on that.
Shoot.
I think I heard something about that. Did it happen to be in Cuba?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so then I do know what you're talking about.
Yes.
That's insane. There was some United States. I forget who they were, but they worked for the United States, and they were in Cuba, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And something happened. A lot of them started falling sick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to like, God, I'm matter of fact, speaking of which, I mean, talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis, at one point in time, they talked about that they were going to have they were going to lie to the people.
Right.
And put out this big story that one of our ships were attacked by the Cuban military to give us an excuse to step in and take over Cuba.
Right.
And they decided not to do it because it's just, when you got a conspiracy, see, here's the thing about conspiracy theories. You have to remember at the end of the day, if it's a alleged really big conspiracy involving like all these different like, acronym agencies and everything else, that's a lot of people to control. And let's face facts, man, especially nowadays, people cannot keep their mouth shut no matter what.
Right.
They can't.
Right.
There's always somebody who's going to talk. Dude, I tell you what, you join the mob nowadays, you better not be on social media. Because, I mean, seriously, you'll get ratted out in like 30 seconds,
I mean, everything's on social media now. Yeah, you're right. People can't keep secrets, or they want to put it out there. They want everybody to know their business. So yeah, it's definitely stay out for social media if you're gonna do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The whole thing about people back in the day being in the mob is they didn't talk about being in the mob.
Right. It's secret, man.
That's like how you knew they were really in the mob, because they didn't talk about it.
It's like
you just knew they were.
It's like a secret society, man.
Yeah.
You keep everything on a down low.
It's like the being in a bar situation, right? The tough guy is the one who's sitting there, who's being quiet, that everybody knows is tough.
Right.
He doesn't have to tell everybody he's tough. Everybody has seen this guy in the bar at one time or another crack a few skulls, and they know this guy's tough.
Right.
And so he doesn't have to put on the show. He doesn't have to brag or talk about it, right? So but we love to brag. Americans just love to brag, dude. That's the reason why I like with these conspiracy theories.
Right.
It's going to get out. So it's sooner or later somebody's going to slip and talk, Back in the day, I mean, thinking all the way back to, God, even when we were doing like experiments on the African American communities, and everybody thought that was a big conspiracy, that was made up, it was fake. No, it was real. We really were. We were injecting them with syphilis.
Yeah.
And allegedly giving them the cure, but we were not. We were finding out what the effects were long term with syphilis.
They're testing them out.
Yeah, it's like Al Capone. Al Capone had syphilis. That's what he died from. Now, a lot of people don't know that. They think he just died from like old age in prison or whatever.
Right.
No, he died from syphilis.
In prison.
Well, actually, no. He was out of prison when he died.
Was he?
Yeah, he actually had served his time and got released, and he basically died broke and mentally insane because
the syphilis, that it makes you go insane.
Yeah, it basically chews up your brain like Swiss cheese, kind of like mad cow disease.
Yeah.
So one of the big conspiracies out there right now, there is an anthrax coming, a new version.
I've not heard that one yet.
Yes. So through some very, very actually non-reliable sources, it's usually always reliable.
Yeah.
No, these are non-reliable. There is allegedly a new anthrax that's coming down the pike that's going to be affecting people. Instead of it being the new, it's going to basically be taking over and being the new COVID later down the line. I mean, we've already heard already about the different people getting this new strain that's coming out from COVID.
Right.
So that's, letting you guys know, watching the video, that's not fake news. That's real. So I don't want people like banning our videos or whatever, saying, oh, you're making up stuff about COVID. No, that's out in the news.
Yeah.
So it's public knowledge. But there's allegedly this new anthrax coming down the line. And
so anthrax.
Yes.
I mean, okay. So where would it come from, and why? How would it be released out into the public? Because I mean, anthrax, that's deadly. That's not like COVID. You know what I mean? That definitely would put you out permanently. So
yeah, its kill rate is much more efficient.
Absolutely.
Than COVID. The thing about anthrax is anthrax can be delivered even in the air. It's in powder form.
Right.
You drop it from like way up high where the clouds are spreading it everywhere. And the bad thing about anthrax, by the time you realize you got anthrax, typically it's already too late. When I was serving in the military before we went to the Middle East, this back when anthrax was very prevalent over there. Or prevalent, however you want to say it, tomato. We had to go through the anthrax series shots. We had to get injected and everything, for the hope you live, shot
like to boost your immune system to it.
It basically was giving you anthrax, and but also, like you said, it's like any other virus that they give you the shot for. Like when they give you the flu shot, you're getting the flu.
You're getting the flu. Right.
But they have other stuff that's put in there to help counter the effects of it and everything. So it goes in your system, builds up an immunity to it. Right. Yeah, and then that way, when you come across that strain later, then you're not going to get it because your body's already had it. It just gets rid of it.
Right.
So basically, same concept. Now this is paraphrasing, obviously, and breaking it down, kind of dumbing it down a little bit. But that's basically what they did with anthrax. So we were getting the anthrax, shots. Right. And and back then, dude, in the military, they're kind of like with the whole COVID situation. They were tough on it. They were like, if you didn't take the shot, you were out. So I'm telling you right now, COVID, the whole thing with COVID in the military, that's not the first time this has been done. They did the same thing with when the anthrax series over there. And I know a couple people that did get booted out because they refused to take the shot.
I mean, I don't blame them. But have you heard of anybody dying actually while in the military because of the shots from the anthrax?
No.
Right. But if they were, I'm sure that wouldn't be put
it was
publicly.
Training exercise. But no, honestly, I didn't know. Now, granted, I had side effects from it when I first got the shot.
What kind of side effects did you have?
It was one of those where you had this like involuntary like muscle spasm.
Oh, really?
And now let me make sure I clarify here. It wasn't like the extreme, like if you had like say a debilitating type thing, like say cerebral palsy, something like that. Not that extreme.
Right.
But it's like all of a sudden like your muscles would start just jumping, stuff like that. Dude, it was close to Christmas time because we went over on my first tour. I believe it was January because I remember it was like right after Christmas, and on my first tour. And so, anyways, it was around about Christmas time. We'd already gotten the shots and all that good stuff. We're spending time with our families before we get ready to jet out, go overseas, go do our thing for 6 months. And so I was out shopping at the mall, and I just bought this hot cup of cocoa, right? And it's like Christmas time, trying to get in the mood, what I'm saying, having the hot chocolate and all that. I'm walking through the mall, and all of a sudden my hand just went, and I crushed the cup in my hand.
Jeez,
yeah,
man.
Hot cocoa all over my hand, dude. And I found out, talking to our people that's one of the side effects was this involuntary muscle reaction, and it won't happen like all the time. It was just, it happened like 1 or 2 times, and then that was it. Never got
so
it
it wasn't
again
something that
after
was like long term or anything like that. It ran its course pretty much.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's gone. My belly button glows now, but no, actually, it was very short term. I mean, there may have been other people who may have gotten debilitated by it. To be honest, I mean, I don't know. But as far as it went for me, it was just quick little, scrunchy crunch, and that was it. And then it's, done.
Like you said, I mean, between the military and all these acronym agencies that they have out there, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that has been done. I mean, like you said, the testing of African Americans, or I heard that they were spraying, how they got the chemtrails and stuff like that. They were spraying neighborhoods with I forget what it was that they were using, but we were like lab rats to them.
Oh,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And that's insane. Like, how do you, how do you you use your citizens as lab rats? You know, just but I mean, look, we're not the
Because
only
they don't care. It's not
right,
them.
right. They don't care. It's not them,
Yeah.
and we're not the only government that's we don't have the only government that's doing that. So I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of places that are worse.
You want to know why they don't do it to other countries? And I'll tell you why. That would be considered an act of war and puts
Oh,
us on a
absolutely.
whole different ballpark.
Absolutely.
Opposed to, okay, you commit a crime in your neighborhood and you're in the mob, you're able to hide it better. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Because you have your own people on the inside. Same thing here. They do something to our people here. They got plenty of people that could back them up and keep them out of trouble.
But you don't think that they actually try to do something like that in other countries, like on a down low, like secretly, you know what I mean, and just to test it out on? I mean, it could be anybody, like in Afghanistan, Iraq, or.
I would have to say no.
No. Okay. I mean,
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, put it that
Yeah.
way. And don't get me wrong, man. I don't think like our government's like some secret, killer organization trying to go out and kill people, you know.
Right.
But I do know that there's organizations inside of organizations inside of organizations, you know.
Right.
And there
there's a
are
lot of money behind that, man.
oh, big time, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You get anything that deals with national security of the most prominent country in the
Right.
world. Yeah, bro. Big
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Big money. You're talking billion-dollar contracts, multi-billion-dollar contracts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, with the chemtrail situation too. I mean, think about this. Think about all the mosquito sprayers that go around in neighborhoods, right?
Yep.
And for you people watching the show, you know what I'm talking about. The trucks that go around, you hear that, bzzz, and they're out there spraying for mosquitoes or whatnot.
It always made me wonder when I would hear those things going by.
Yeah, because think about this, dude. Imagine if you were a terrorist, right?
Yeah.
How easy it would be to get into one of those trucks,
Dude, that's
load it up with
crazy.
whatever you want,
Crazy
and just
easy.
be driving around spraying neighborhoods left and
Yeah.
right. Dude, I remember when we were kids, we used to run behind those trucks, dude. Seriously, be out there playing, and they would, like in the movie, you see the kids playing in the street, car goes by a car, and they get off the road. We'd get off the road, they'd go by, and they'd still be spraying, and
Yeah.
we'd come right back in the mist, be like, exactly, man. Ooh. It's like,
Get
dude,
enough
I'm
of
ready to
that.
play for 16 more hours, Jack.
Absolutely, man.
Man, that was not mosquito spray. That was cocoa spray. You know what kind of cocoa I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Be like a cheetah on Kiki. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. But yeah, it's you never know. You never know, and then it is really easy to able to infiltrate anything that we have over here. From what I understand, I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
they could put anything out there, and we'd be dropping by the droves.
Yeah. My biggest concern is that, honestly, that with all the different people who hate us across the world, my biggest concern is that somebody finally just gets a wild hair up their butt and just
Yeah.
says, you know what? Let's go ahead and do some stuff.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and it turns into a chemical attack. I would much rather be facing an enemy straight on, whether I don't even care if they even got guns, missiles, whatever.
Right.
At least you know it's coming.
Right.
Chemical attack, not always. And then if you do get hit, it's not always a slow death.
No.
Think about the guys, from Vietnam, who have been, even up to today, still dying from Agent Orange.
Yeah.
You know?
My uncle.
My uncle
served
too.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Had
told me
Agent
about it.
Orange, man.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's just scary the different things that are out there. I mean, man, there's things at the CDC right now that it would take just like one vial to bust
Yeah.
out there
We
and
to-
kill everybody on
Yeah,
this
we
planet.
spoke about that a few weeks ago.
Just a few weeks ago,
Somebody
yeah.
was smuggling something in California, I think you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
And then now, so moving on to other conspiracy theories besides chemical attacks. What do you think about these ray guns from space? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to remember if I heard something about that. But anyways, refresh my memory.
So basically, there are quite a few spontaneous fires that have sprouted up in different areas around the U.S. right now.
Please don't tell me like California is one of those where you get all these wildfires, because
No,
you get that.
No, we're talking about places like I want to say it was Montana. Maybe.
What?
Yeah, we're talking about like in middle of nowhere type places, right? That these fires were sprung up that everything was burnt evenly. not like a typical fire that will, like a fire, like an arsonist, right?
Right.
When they go and they catch a building on fire, one of the first things that the inspector does is they look for the heat source from where the fire mainly came from. They can usually tell by the damage and everything caused
Where it started
from,
Right.
right? This was kind of like an all over effect, and yeah, there's a lot of people right now questioning it.
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
Yeah, because we know, like DARPA, prime example. They do all different types of everything from weapons to space programs,
Right.
all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So, anyways, one of the theories out there is that we have been testing on these grounds these new weapons that are basically doing a major heat source, like, for lack of a better term, laser beam from space and burning up these areas.
So, if it is a test that they're trying out a new weapon or whatever have you, you think they will use that? Obviously, we would use anything for defense. Like if we go to war, the survival of the fittest. So if you have the best kind of weapons or whatever, you might have a chance to, coming out alive. But you think they will use that in the next war or something like that? Or is that like for aliens?
We've already used the audio weapons. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Everybody was asking like about the railgun. The railgun has never ever been used in combat, not even once.
Right.
We have yet to perfect it, nor has any country been able to perfect it as of yet. And for our audience out there, railgun is basically, and I'm putting this in a very small box here, is basically using magnets to shoot a like metal rod like up to the speed of light. Because of an object, the closer it gets to the speed of light, becomes more dense, the atoms.
Right.
So essentially, let's say if you could, take a penny and just flick it, to the speed of light. You're like the Flash.
Yeah.
You could flick it to the speed of light. It would pass through a planet and just keep right on going. It's not going to slow down.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because of the speed, and it makes the atoms start basically touching. The closer the atoms get together, the more dense the object, the more solid it is.
Right.
And then it becomes impenetrable, and it can punch through whatever. So essentially, that's the railgun. They want to be able to shoot this rod at a high velocity to be able to punch through anything. But there's way too many side effects, even if they could accomplish it, that they don't even know would really happen yet.
Yeah, I think one of mine that it affects me more because, and I'm not saying more than you or more than anybody else, but it affects me a lot because I was born in that city. So obviously, I think you know where I'm coming at. 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay, so 9/11, there's a lot of conspiracy going on about what happened there. Obviously, we know that, the FBI, these guys knew ahead of time, and I think they warned about these pilots or these people who pose a potential threat to us and who were probably plotting, to do some damage. Granted, it happened regardless. And rest in peace, all those souls. But it happened, and a lot of people were saying that this was actually fixed. You know what I mean? The buildings that went down, they said it seemed more like a demolition job. You know what I mean? Because people who were out there, they heard boom, 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 like it was exploding. Obviously the demolition, the dynamite, whatever it is that they use, was exploding. In sequence. What's your thought about that? Because a lot of people out there, they still believe that the government had a little hand in that.
My thought on that is that it was an unfortunate thing that happened on our soil.
Absolutely.
It was a major catastrophe. Well, I don't want to say catastrophe. It was a terrorist attack.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not like downplaying it. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm just saying that I don't think that it was anything that was staged or planned. Now, could it have been? Absolutely, it could have been. I think that it could have given us just cause to be able to go into a lot of countries to do a lot of things that under normal circumstances we wouldn't have been able to do. But we were able to use what happened as a scapegoat to be able to do it. So could it have happened and been planned and everything else? Yes, absolutely. Do I think it was? No, I think it was just a terrorist attack.
You really believe that jet fuel could actually melt those beams?
When it's burning that hot?
I'm sure it was extremely hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I said. I've read stuff like people who have witnessed vans. It's all kinds of stories. You know what I mean? They witnessed vans that were sitting there parked outside.
There were so many side stories. See, that's the problem right there.
There's so many stories.
There were so many stories. It's hard to know what was real, what wasn't, in order to say if yes, this was a conspiracy or not. You know what I'm saying? So in that circumstance, I mean, put it this way. I had somebody, because I had a different radio show they used to do a long time ago on radio back in the day. And I had someone that we were doing a show about 9/11, about the conspiracy behind it,
Right.
who called in the show claiming to be a former, like, U.S. Marshal who had an inside track and said, yes, at the Pentagon there was C4 residue found. You know, do I know for sure if that was real? No, I don't. So I'm not going to say it was. But I'm just saying there's so many stories that it's hard to keep up to know, was it real or not real? Was it planned? Was it not planned? I mean, the overall attack obviously was planned, you know what I'm saying? But you have to think, once again, this falls back to all the people that would have to have been involved in order to pull that off.
Yeah.
And nobody spoke.
Yeah.
That's the hard part that makes it hard for me to believe that it was a conspiracy.
Right.
Because, dude, I mean, think about it nowadays, just politics alone, man. People are ratting each other out left and right. You know what I'm saying? Dropping leaks on everything. I mean, dude, leaks are the national pastime out of Washington.
Yeah.
They really are. But for something like 9/11, I mean, you would think somebody would have talked by now.
I mean,
legitimately talked. We know people have talked, but I'm talking about legitimate, you could verify.
Unless there was no one left alive to talk. You know what I mean? You got rid of, like, say you hire a professional, and they get the job done. But now you have someone who can speak against you, God forbid something happens. So let's just get rid of, whatever stuff that can actually come back and bite us.
Well, don't get me wrong. That could very well, like I said, it's a very real possibility. Right. Yes. Because, well, I'm not God. I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it could have been planned. I don't know.
Right.
But once again, I mean, now you're knocking off multiple people. So you're not only just covering up this major, catastrophic terrorist attack.
Right.
With God knows how many people would have been involved in order to pull that off. But also now you're murdering people too and getting away with that on top of all of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now granted, granted, the government, you can definitely stage that stuff. You could be like, oh, they've flown over to Afghanistan because we needed them to be an ambassador and they got shot 1,600 times. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, they could set you up for failure.
If they did, have a hand in that, and I'm not saying that because I would really hope that we're not capable of doing something like that. If they did have a hand on that and they did allow that to happen, I mean, there's thousands of people who died, and then what's another 500 or something that whoever could have been involved in that.
Absolutely, but here's the thing. When 9/11 happened, they knew it was done by terrorists. It was pretty obvious when it happened. You know what I'm saying? It was putting the pieces together afterwards. Of who did it and everything else.
Right.
And it's so funny, too, because people are talking about, like, oh, well, they were here legally and everything else. And trust me, I'm not getting into a discussion about the border either. I don't want to hear it. I'm just saying that from an outside bystander and watching these people talk and listening to what they're saying. And they're like, well, there's no way we could have prevented it because they were here legally and everything else. No, they weren't. Like, two of the guys, their visas were like 6 months over, that they had been expired.
Right.
So yeah, there are a lot of different things that could have been avoided.
Our system has definitely failed us, man. I mean, like you said, expired visas. Come on, man, stay on your jobs, man. Take care of those things because you don't want to have another 9/11 happen. So yeah, we definitely need to up our game when it comes out to that.
That, and when you have a guy who wants to learn how to fly but not how to land.
Dude, right?
Red flag.
Yeah, I mean, how do you look past that?
That's also another conspiracy that was going around.
Really? Because I did hear that.
No. The guy was just taking the class and he, did his thing.
But see, that's another thing. So many things. It could even be that they're putting stuff out there just to kind of, like a red flag to try to get you a smoking.
Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. You just never know. There's so many things out there that are lies that some of them in there might be true.
Bro, we got conspiracies going on right now about the aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, ever since this congressional hearing we had, people out there saying, I knew it all this time. They had aliens and yada, yada, yada. Well, they never really actually came out and said well, okay, let me rephrase that. They said we had them, but not one of them were the ones who had seen the bodies and everything else. It was a friend of a friend of a friend type of thing that you always hear. You know, like every time we seem like I have a whistleblower, it's never the direct person. It's like third in line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, but I was thinking, okay, so yeah, I don't think we have third or fourth hand stories or accounts of what may have happened or what they might have seen, but then you have astronauts who are up there and they actually see things. I mean, they know what's around them. They've been up there for so long. They know what's flying around them, whether it's space debris or whatever. So for them to say, I seen something that does not,
I seen it.
that does not belong up there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean,
Don't get me wrong. I definitely believe there's aliens.
right.
You know,
We need to check Jesse because he doesn't believe that.
definitely got it. Yeah, dude, that really threw me off
Yeah,
last week.
it threw me off too. I was
Yeah,
thinking
he was
about
like, "Oh, I don't know if I believe in aliens, have been here and all that." And I'm like, "Really? Really? You're on our show and you're the guy who has to say that." It's like, it was one of those like, I kind of thought, did you really mean it, or is it just trying to be counterproductive on the show?
Yeah,
You know what I
he's
mean?
trying to have a debate here with me, buddy.
Exactly.
But I mean, to each his own. I love you, Jess.
We do. It's kind of like wrestling. Got to put on that show every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
But speaking of which, man, dude, freaking, Bray, who just passed away, Wyatt, from WWE, man, that sucks.
Yes.
36 years old, man, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
Definitely condolences to his friends and his family, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I never met the guy, don't know him personally, putting that out there, and people thinking like it's like, oh, Chance knew this. No, I didn't know
Right.
him. Never met him.
Right.
Just I loved him as in wrestling.
Right.
But I just because of being from this area and knowing people that's family with him and stuff like that, like you always had you'd always hear like a kind story about him and just being such a great guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so condolences to his family and friends.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, we're losing a lot of people, man. Losing a lot.
Yeah, and it seems like it's more of recent decades than it has been like in the past.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, the wrestlers. So I grew up watching WWE,
Oh, yeah.
WWF. That's what it was.
WWF, yeah.
And then but I do
I
know
remember
that
WCW.
yeah,
All of it.
But a lot of them use steroids, and I know at some point it could really break your body down. So, a lot of them probably went out because of that. Who knows? But it's kind of sad to see how many people are dying. You know what blew my mind? Kobe Bryant. When
That
Kobe
was
Bryant,
so unexpected.
dude, I was
Yeah.
not. That came out of from left field that I was not expecting that at all. And when I heard that, I'm like, dude, like what is going on? So
Yeah, whenever I heard about that on the news and everything, I mean, I of course, the first thing we heard was, right now we're checking on a confirmed, possibly confirmed story that Kobe Bryant has passed away, due
Right.
to a helicopter accident. And then it's like more and more the details started coming out, and then you found out about his kid being there. So I was like,
Right,
oh my
that was
God,
so
man,
sad,
that's
man.
devastating. Yeah. I tell you what, man, some of the like losses we've had, some of them you kind of saw coming, to be fair, and then there's the other ones you're like, wow,
Yeah.
Paul Walker, prime example,
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
few years ago, we lost him to the
Fast
car
and
accident.
Furious, yeah, man. And
Never
that's ironic.
saw that coming,
he died in a car. Was he racing or was it just a freak accident? I can't remember the story.
I think it was more of, I don't know, maybe horseplay. I don't know the whole story behind how the accident happened, but I think it was more of horseplay.
Right.
And unfortunately, it just.
I mean, that's insane.
And he's a professional driver.
Right.
So yeah, it was totally like, holy crap, I can't believe that happened.
to do films, racing and stuff like that, and then end up dying in a car.
Yeah,
And
because in
that's-
real life, he really was a car guy.
Right.
It's like he owned, like, you remember the green Mitsubishi Eclipse that he drove?
Yep.
Like, he owned that car.
Oh, that was his.
He had a copy of it and,
Oh,
and
okay.
had it at his
Okay.
home.
Okay.
So yeah, major car guy. So like when he was doing the movies, like a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, he actually knew.
He knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived the life.
Yeah, he lived the life.
Yeah.
And such a great guy too, man.
Yeah.
He was a huge proponent for like protecting the oceans and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, big time, man. He was out there all the time. He backed up a whole lot of different programs, to help, clean the oceans, stuff like that. Just awesome, dude.
Well, it's like the saying goes, the good die young. So
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's crappy that we do lose a lot of people. One of the conspiracies that I I can't shake is, what do you think about the conspiracy with dude? I just have a brain freeze. The conspiracy about JFK.
JFK. Oh.
Okay, so with that, you have the whole, the CIA or the FBI. What do you think they would have had a reason? Because there's a lot of people who say that it could be because he was a proponent for a certain law, whether it be for you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Or it could be something else that they just didn't like what he was trying to accomplish.
All right. We're going to give this out right now on Paraprobe. What happened to JFK? Mob. It was a mob.
It was a mob hit.
The mob was involved. Yes, because dude, we have mob involved. Back in the day, man, the mob was buying in on senators and congressmen left and right all the time. Because they try to get certain laws to pass in order to make things in businesses easier for them. You know what I'm saying? And to help protect them. It's like, yeah, we'll go ahead and drop in like $3 million in your campaign, but you're going to be doing me a favor in the long run.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And well, apparently there was, things can be vetoed by the president, and they were like, this ain't going to be going through. Right. And somebody's like, you need to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And that's my personal opinion. I think that was a mob, and it was involved with some people from the government, and it was a hit. That's my personal opinion.
So another one was what that he wanted us to go to the moon. So it wasn't. I don't think that was it. It was something else that they were saying that he was trying to do that the government itself, not the mob, but the government weren't okay with it. Do you remember anything like that?
There were so many stories about what he wanted to do. It wasn't involved with the moon. I mean, he was the one who did push the moon race, which did get us to the moon. But there were so many different things out there about different regulations that he wanted to pass, different laws he wanted to pass. And he was getting the country on his side, following behind. And
he had a big following because it was on both sides of the aisle. They loved him.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that didn't because it was counterproductive to their business. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's typically why these murders happen, man. It's usually one of three things. It's either greed, pride, or it's love. It's one of the three. It is always involved with a murder somehow.
You think you could put Dr. Martin Luther King in that?
Dr. Martin Luther King, I would definitely have to say was, I think there was people who did not want that man to get, segregation, done and nixed. Of course, getting equal rights for African Americans or everything else. And I think that there were people that were like, we need to stop him. He's getting a little too cocky, and too many people are starting to listen.
Well, the FBI, I think that's what happened. Hoover? Who was it that there was a movie or a TV show regarding
the Selma, the movie Selma.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they really did not like what he was trying to accomplish.
And which is crazy. You're talking about a guy who was trying to accomplish getting everybody to get along.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Why is it okay? I don't get it. Jesus, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, all the big time people that have tried to get people to come together are the ones who always get killed. Bob Marley. Yeah. Tried to shoot and execute him. Yeah. The man went on stage that night, the day he got shot, and did a show. Yeah. And it's just crazy to me, man. It's like people just can't live with the good in life.
That's insane.
And don't get me wrong. You want to knock off a pedophile? Hey,
how about it?
Yeah, I mean, now we're not condoning condoning violence here.
Yeah, no, we definitely are not condoning that.
What I was saying was that if something like that happened, that I wouldn't take a vested interest in it.
Right.
Or care.
I wouldn't waste my time reading about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But people like we're just talking about, talk about conspiracy theories, man. Martin Luther King, Jesus Christ. I mean, these people, these are major historical conspiracy theories, Yeah. I mean, the one that I never got to was the guy who tried to knock off, what was his, he did knock off, oh my God, I'm brain farting on his name, John Lennon.
And I was wondering if that's whose name you was about to bring up.
Okay, yeah. And I just never understood why. certain people like
But
you
you
go
got
out.
some just crazy people. I mean, people are sometimes just crazy. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
absolutely.
either fans or whatever have you. So it might just be that they're crazy. You know what I mean? It couldn't be. It wasn't like necessarily a hit or something.
True.
It could be that they just crazy because there are crazy people out there.
Well, like Selena, another one.
Oh man.
Huge pop
Man.
star, gorgeous.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, a
That-
really nice person.
That was sad, dude.
Yeah,
That was really, really
yeah.
sad.
It's like why?
Yeah.
Why her? Just
Like you said, the good man, the good die young, man, and it's sad, but that's
no wonder I'm still here. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's probably true about us, man. But
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna ask you now. So I would have to say, what is a conspiracy that you've heard in your life that you absolutely believe in? That you're like, yeah, it's got to be this weird story, conspiracy, whatever happened.
I would probably have to say the Illuminati.
Okay.
I think because there are secret societies, you know what I mean, out there. Some are more out there. You have the Freemasons, you know what I mean, and that dates back way back. You know what I mean?
But Freemasons though, this is the big. Speaking of conspiracy theories, people, we're talking about them. So like, Freemasons were not about anything evil.
No,
they were
no,
just
no.
about science.
Right.
They were about science and improving man. And dedicating science in order to improve the life of man.
But there was also said that there was stuff going on in there, whether it be not satanic.
Yeah,
but
the rituals were a little
Right, the
risque.
rituals, right,
Yeah, a little
right,
risque,
right.
just a little bit.
yeah, just a little on the fringe side.
But like the Illuminati, yeah, those are like the world domination, take
Right,
over everything
right.
kind of situations. And I agree with you 1,000%. I think there are. I mean, right now as it stands in the U.S. alone, we have really 2 companies that run the U.S. And that's the truth.
2 companies.
2 major corporations that multi-own all these other corporations, big corporations. And so they control the influx of power, the dollar, the whole 9 yards. And they're the ones that I think they're really calling the shots in the long run.
Yeah, those other people behind the scenes that control the politicians and whatever have you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, which one? I mean, besides, obviously, we both agree on the Illuminati. Which one would you say that is one of the top ones that keep you wondering or,
I would have to say that the Roswell crash in 47. I think that it really was an alien craft. I think they really had alien bodies.
That's going on.
Yeah, I believe that when they said it was a weather balloon and all that stuff, that was just hocus pocus. Just look over here, not what's really going on.
A little smoke screen.
Little smoke screen going down. Yeah, I firmly believe that that Roswell was real. I think the crash actually happened. I think they do have alien craft. I think the government has been lying to us for years about aliens. And one of the main factors why they won't straight out come and tell us now is because I believe that they're afraid of the lawsuits because of all the lives that have been. If you go back and take only, say, 10% of the UFO crash that the government was involved in, that told everybody it was not a UFO, that it was the sun sparkling off some bald-headed guy, whatever the case may be.
Right.
That come to find out, let's say that there really was an alien craft. So this person that came out with the story of what they saw was lied to. They were lied about to other people.
Yeah.
Their lives were basically destroyed. I mean, Bob Cesar, or or Bob Lazar.
Lazar.
Yeah, there's so many people out there that have had basically their lives destroyed because of government overreach.
Right.
That I believe firmly believe that they're not going to be just flat out saying that everything that we've ever discussed, from Roswell to whatever, asking them if it was real or not. I guarantee there's still going to be a lot of them they'll lie about. Even if they came out with full disclosure, said, yes, aliens are real, we have an alien craft, we got bodies, but it wasn't from Roswell. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That one we did not lie about.
There's still going to be smoke screens, man, left and right. Promise you.
I mean, like we've talked about this before.
By the way, Jason and I both are not depressed. We do not do drugs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we don't want to get Epstein. So okay.
I mean, I'm a little bit tired, but that's it, man.
Yeah.
But I think they also worry, like we've talked about this before, of society going crazy. You know what I mean? So I mean, it could be a lot of reasons, but yeah, I do agree on that.
Yeah. I think the next step for us is that's what's going to be the next thing.
Yeah.
We've gone from the global devastation, climate change, all that good stuff, to running into AI is going to destroy us. To we ran into the pandemic, with all the way back to the Spanish flu to COVID recently, all that. I think the next thing is going to be just it's going to be mass hysteria. It's going to be people snapping. It's going to become like the purge. And
Dude.
I don't know if it's going to be something that chemically makes it happen. But there's something that I don't know why it's a gut feeling. I think that something's going to happen that's going to make people go off the deep end, and it's going to become like the knocking people off is going to be the national pastime.
Man, let's hope that doesn't come to fruition because we already have a lot of crazies out there. We don't need mass killings because people just can't keep their stuff together.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it's going to be. Honestly, I think it's going to be chemical. I think it's going to be some type of chemical attack.
So you think somebody's actually going to lay out some chemicals out there? And
yeah, that's my opinion. I think that the next big thing that's going to come along is going to be a chemical attack.
And there's a lot of people who hate us. So, I mean, it could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, not all countries have, access to, because a lot of them were destroyed back when. But I think there are some who do have it, and, they'll be happy to use it on us. So,
well, all I can say is that stuff happens. I think that between that and I think there's going to be full disclosure, which I've already said this before on the show.
Right.
I think we're going to have full disclosure coming up within the next year. I think we're going to have full disclosure. They're going to come out and say, yep, aliens are real. We've been talking to them for a while. They like donuts, just yakety yakety.
And then we can look at Jesse and say, told you so.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah, that's my guy. But, let's. I am myself, like I said, I've said before, I'm looking forward to that. If it is a full disclosure coming up, depending on how it goes out, and then because he could be right, because they could have some military, machines that are being tested out there that we don't know of. Obviously they don't tell us everything. So, but it can't all be military.
But see, here's the problem with that. Okay. Jesse was saying that, we don't know what they have out there. They could have advanced military planes that could do this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah.
The speeds are crazy, though. I mean,
not only the speeds, the turns, the G-forces, they're manageable. We're not talking about even having a human pilot. Even if it was just a drone
remotely controlled.
There's no sign of anything that makes this thing aerodynamic to fly to begin with, yet alone make those type of turns.
There's no propulsions or
no
anything
propulsion
like that.
signs, no nothing.
Right.
And the sheer physics, if that would have been an object that could turn that quick, would have ripped it apart on the turn. The G-force alone would have smashed it in half the side.
Right.
Unless you have this super lightweight material that is completely indestructible, that is far beyond human comprehension to make right now. So, there's the physics argues against what Jesse was saying. So, yeah, I'm sure him and I will have a debate on that on the show sooner or later. I'm sure, because he'll probably watch this episode and be like, "You're a jerk," but I don't care.
Yeah, well, we definitely know there aren't human pilots in those things. There's no way possible. It just, like I said, they've done testing on pilots before and trying to, see how much G-force they can take, and we're passing out. Our biology can't handle that. So if it is, it could be remotely controlled, I think.
This is the reason why women make the best pilots, because the way their bodies are built, different from ours, they actually can withstand more G-forces than we can.
Really?
Yes. Women make better pilots than we do. They can withstand a lot more G-forces.
Well, we got to love our women.
That's right.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Oh, absolutely.
So thank you all.
Yes, ma'am. So, but also, too, they also make better shooters.
Better shooters.
Yeah. And the reason why is because we're gorillas, okay? We are.
We're knuckle draggers.
We're a bunch of uneducated knuckle draggers that are always out there doing stupid things, and we're rough and tumble, and we don't know how to finesse things, right? Women do. Majority of women, I mean, as they and trust me, I'm not putting everybody in this box for a woman, so I don't want to hear all those emails either. I'm talking about, but just as a whole, that most women are usually, taught to be more, finesse, more demure, gentle, right? Motherly nature. Okay. So they have a better way of when they're shooting guns to actually squeeze the trigger instead of jerking the trigger.
Right.
They wind up typically being better shots than we are too.
Ah.
So yeah, so see, there's some basic physics right there and some biology facts that can help you out when next time you have an argument on who's better between men and women.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There's gonna be a lot of
You're
competition
welcome.
out there.
Exactly. So the other thing is too is that when it comes down to these conspiracies, that's another big one about men and women, that the whole population control. They used to believe back in the day that they were putting stuff in the water to sterilize men so we could not procreate to keep the American civilization going.
Ah, didn't they do something like that on the African Americans too? That's one of the things that they use. Right?
Oh yeah,
to try to stop.
Yeah,
them
that was
from
another thing they
getting-
did. Yeah.
That's insane, man.
One of the big things that they're talking about was that they were like basically giving like more. I can't remember the liquid off the top of my head. I'm so sorry, but yeah, putting it in water that would basically nuke a guy's nads, from the
What?
inside, so they're not producing children,
Right.
But you wouldn't feel pain, you wouldn't see anything different or nothing like that. So typically, men would not realize that they're
Right.
sterile
They
by
just-
the time it's too late.
Because
Right?
it is normal, so to speak.
Yeah,
You know,
because
that-
our population is slowing down.
yeah.
It is slowing down compared to how much we used to, procreate.
No, with the baby boomers, that was when it was at its height. But
But now you have all these distractions. You have podcasts, Paraprobe. You have
Social media.
Social media. You
Yeah.
got computers. You got laptops. You got your
Phones,
cell
yeah,
phones, so
yeah.
on and so forth. That honestly, and plus, well, let's just face facts. Today, the world's just crappy, and not a lot of people want to bring a child into the world right now.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yes, and even Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen, did a big thing about that he doesn't want to bring a kid in the world right now.
Yeah.
He's like, it takes away all my fun. And that's his words, not mine.
Right.
So, yes, our population definitively throughout the years in the last 50 years has definitely declined.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
time. It wouldn't surprise me if, it wouldn't surprise me if we need to recalculate ourselves one day, kind of sit back and go, yeah, we need to get people having sex again.
Yeah, I mean, put it down and start having more human interaction.
Yeah.
Because you walk around, you go to a restaurant, wherever you decide to go, you could go to a restaurant, you can go to the mall, store, probably even church, dude. Somebody's on their phone.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
a lot of people are on their phones.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'm not even gonna, I'm not gonna try to downplay it because I myself am a victim of that.
Yeah,
I get on the
we
phone
all are.
and it's hard. It's addictive. It's
Yeah.
like a drug. You know what I mean? And they knew exactly what they were doing when they created that.
Oh, it really is a drug because the first thing that happens when people get their cell phones taken away is their dopamine levels drop. They wind up going into a depressive mode. There's people that are on their cell phones all the time, especially kids.
Yeah.
That's why your kids freak out like little crackheads when you take their phones away, is because basically it is like taking away crack.
Right, right.
Because their dopamine levels drop and everything else, which is what you get this boost of whenever you're high.
Right.
You get dopamine, serotonins, all those are kicking off, right? Damping your body up. Same thing when they're on their cell phones. Then all of a sudden they're doing this all the time, kind of like an alcoholic, right? Or a drug addict. And then all of a sudden you take it away, they
Yeah, it's
don't
crazy.
do it to me, daddy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've
They
seen
start
it.
crashing.
I've seen it.
I seen it. Yeah, I seen it too, man. I'm telling you, man. I've seen children. And I was afraid to take a cell phone away because I'm afraid it'd stab me in my sleep or something. So
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Society today. I mean, when we were kids, we didn't have any of that. We didn't have no internet. We grew up.
we weren't allowed inside.
we couldn't stay inside. It was come back when the light in the street comes on. This is when I want you home, and that's what we did. We were outside playing, but we enjoyed it. It
Telling
made us
you
who we
guys
are.
right now watching this show that yes, that is true what Jay is saying.
Yep.
That when we were growing up, you were kicked out like on a Saturday morning. It was okay if you hung out and watched a little bit of the Saturday morning cartoons while you had your breakfast and all that. But after about 10 o'clock, about 10 a.m.
Yep.
Boom, you were booted out the door.
After cereal, yeah, it's time to go. But a lot of us wanted to be outside.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I was an outdoors kid.
Nowadays they have to kick the kids out. You know what I mean? Try to get them off their phones. So yeah, it's a different era, man. Definitely a different era.
like when I was growing up, man, it was like nothing on a Saturday morning to, after getting done watch cartoons in the morning, go outside. You know what? Let's go a little bit older. Let's say around about, say, 13, 14. All right, about
Okay.
13, 14 years old. I'd wake up, a little bit later in the mornings on Saturdays because when you're a teenager, you sleep in more. But I would get up, I would go outside, meet up with my friends, and we would either catch the bus and go to the mall or something, because before we could drive, didn't have our licenses
Right.
yet. Or we'd ride our bikes, for miles. I don't think our mom and dads really realized how far away from our homes that we really traveled.
Yeah, but we
Yeah,
would
dude,
trust it.
we're-
We would trust it though, for the most part. I mean,
Oh,
look,
yeah.
not to cut you off, but
No.
when we used to walk to school, and these are New York blocks, so we
Mm-hmm.
would walk for miles just to go to school. And I was Jacob's age, I was probably like around 10, 12, between
Wow.
10 and 12, and we walked for blocks in the winter. So it's like that was a norm for us, and it's crazy because you think about nowadays, you would never let your kid do that. You know what I mean? Because it's the same. And that's not to say that back then it wasn't crazy, like they didn't have kidnappers, molesters or whatever have you. They were out there. It's just it almost seems like now it's more out in the open because of
Well, back then it seemed like, and this is just my personal opinion. Yes, I'm sure there was obviously. We've got murders to prove it. That there were crazy people back then too.
Right.
Serial killers and all that good stuff. However, I think that back then a lot more people looked out for each other a little bit better.
yeah.
And
yeah.
so, like that kid walking down that sidewalk who was going to school,
Mm-hmm.
there's at least 4 or 5 people on that block who was aware of it and watching that
Right,
kid,
we
making
know
sure
him.
he was all
No,
right.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Nowadays,
know.
people just kind of mind their business.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And that's pretty sad because there's a lot of people who need help, and we just turn our heads, or they'll pull out their phones and start recording instead of helping. That right there
Absolutely.
is a peeve of mine. I see that, I'm like, are you
You
serious?
and me both.
But that's today's society.
I think that whenever you pull out your phone and record somebody getting beaten, something like that, I think you should be just as guilty as they
Yeah,
are.
yeah, absolutely.
As the person who committed it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's just my personal opinion. Hey, I get it. If you think that it's unsafe and you don't want to get involved, that's
Yeah.
fine.
And I
but
think a
don't,
lot of
but
that
don't be
is too-
filming it. Call the cops.
Right, call the
You know what I
cops.
mean? Or
Instead of
call for
recording-
help. Somebody do something.
Instead of recording, dial 911, man.
Yeah, instead of especially the people who record it and sit there and laugh.
Or post it on social media. I mean, that's what they're doing. I do it for the likes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do it for other reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do it for posterity. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man, big time. I really am.
Can I run one before we? I know we
Go
don't have
for
that
it.
much time.
You got 2 minutes.
All right. The moon landing.
Oh, here we
Okay.
go.
There's a lot of people out there who believe that we did not land on the moon because there was a lot of tests that failed prior to that happening.
Oh, I
And
get
we
it.
were Like, and
I get
people
it. I
died.
do.
Astronauts died in the,
I
you know what I mean?
absolutely get it. Yep.
So, but I think it was funny. Buzz Aldrin was one of the pilots that ended up punching somebody in the face. when they
Oh
went up
yeah,
to him.
yeah.
That
The
was
guy
insane.
walked up and asked him about it, and he
Yeah.
hauled off, punched him in the face.
He's
And I
like-
was like, "Good for you."
Yeah, I was pretty proud. That was a proud moment. That was a
Yeah.
proud moment.
That was one of those moments I was like, "Damn, you lay that boy out, man."
Yeah. But there are people out there who believe that we didn't. So
I absolutely believe we landed on the
Yeah,
moon.
so do I.
Yeah,
So do I.
absolutely, 100%. I believe there are some things that we may have fabricated a little bit in our history, claiming we got there to this location first or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I believe, sure, there's some things we fabricated, but not all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the big ones, the moon landing, all that, no. But anyways, we're getting ready to wrap this show up right now. It's going to be the end of this program. Make sure you tune into us every week. We'll be dropping more and more episodes. You'll be able to find us on Amazon Prime, YouTube, everywhere else. Just put in Paraprobe, and you'll be able to find us. You'll also be able to find the audio versions of all these shows. You'll be able to find us everywhere. iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify. Make sure you tune in and listen to us, even on 1490wwpr.com. You can listen
Yep.
online or at 1490 a.m. every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
yeah, you guys have a great weekend.
Y'all
Be
have a
safe,
good
and
one.
we'll see you next week.
Later, Tater.